All right, let's dive in. Ro, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back.
Happy to be back.
Did you want to mention something before we start?
Yes, a huge congratulations on your prize that you won in Paris.
Oh, thank you.
And last time you were here, you were going to go, you weren't going to go, you weren't sure you were going to be able to make it, and you did, and we're so glad you did.
I messaged you saying you should go.
It was the right, it's so the right choice. Yeah, because it was part of a conference. I didn't have a conference ticket. I had to buy a conference ticket to get there. But anyway, yes, it so turned out that I won the best fertility nutritionist at the European Fertility Society Awards. And that was joint with my amazing colleague, Steph Vilakis, who was over in Australia. So it was really magical, actually, that we won it jointly. Because
what a moment.
She's one of my pals as well. So no, it was, something I'm very, very proud of. And I was very grateful to receive.
Amazing. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
We are going to do probably segments each time you come on because you are officially our resident dietitian.
I am. I'm locked in.
You are locked in.
So happy about it.
We are so happy about that. So today we are, in fact, I'll probably let you lead. What we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so we had a discussion, didn't we? And we thought, what's going to be the most useful for people? And sometimes just to outline, what are the basics that you can do in terms of diet and lifestyle for fertility? So that is what we're going to be chatting through today. So you guys are going to be sharing a little bit about what you did on your journey, maybe what things were like before, what you changed them to be, what impact you maybe thought that would have. And I can bring in some of the science and the guidelines and recommendations. So for other people when they're on their fertility journey, just some easy foundational things to get to grips with. So we're going to cover diet, some of the most commonly asked about drinks. We'll look at physical activity, sleep, stress, and touch on endocrine disrupting chemicals.
Okay, amazing.
Right.
Love it.
Should I start? Because I would say that from a lifestyle standpoint, I think I maybe made the first moves in terms of my results.
I would say you needed to probably make some bigger changes, and I think.
What do you mean by that?
We need to be very open and honest about. Well, no, I mean, but
no, you're
were
right.
both. Our lifestyles were very similar for a long time. I think it was even before we were trying for children. I was just way more into the gym. Probably too much, and obviously we'll touch on you can over-exercise, which I definitely was doing. But drinking, smoking, and recreational drugs is probably not
too good.
Not too good for the body.
But I found out a little bit more about my my sperm quality when I had my sperm analysis and then onto the DNA fragmentation, which I did with Ian Stones in 2021. And at that point, when we had that sit down, it's like a 45-minute call, and he started asking me questions about what my lifestyle's like. How do I look after my body in terms of exercise? What foods am I eating? Am I drinking alcohol? Anything else? And I actually ended up telling Ian everything, even to the point where I would go into detail about the drugs I was taking on the road as a touring DJ. The drug I was taking the most, he hadn't even heard of it. He didn't know what the effects were. But after that call, I went and did some research and I was like, oh shit, everything I'm doing is wrong. Now that was a big wake up call for me. So at that point, after that conversation with Ian, exercise was a big one. So starting to move my body. I also realized, and you just touched on it there, that too much exercise is also not good for overheating the sperm. So I was going from doing nothing to then doing these 90-minute stepper sessions, and I was speaking to Ian about that 3 months later, and he was saying,
stop it.
You probably shouldn't be doing anything more than 45 minutes. So you can overdo it on the exercise. Alcohol, another huge one for me, because it was just part of my lifestyle. Drinking on weekends was just the norm. And then obviously the drugs, we've mentioned that as well. So kind of cutting all those out. But for me, a lot of my diet was beige. So it was a lot of heavy carbs, just crap really. Right?
Especially when you were on the road.
Airport food. You know what it was like, right? When I was doing that, it was you're flying into a country, you grab something at the McDonald's on the way. I mean, this is what I was doing, not saying you were doing this, but when I was on the road, I was grabbing something quick, fast food, getting to the hotel and then going out for the artist meal, which was usually chips and burgers, then going back and having cocktails and then going to this nightclub, and all these things I've just completely cut out. But so alcohol, drugs. Another one which came with that lifestyle was sleep. So another lifestyle choice, decision that
Basically had none.
I didn't really sleep properly. I was working unsociable hours as a DJ. That you're working. I mean, you say it's work, and it didn't feel like work. But you're up from whenever you go to the airport to sometimes 5, 6 in the morning. Sometimes not even that. I wouldn't even go to bed. I'd go and get my bag. I'd go straight to the airport and then fly to another country. So sleep, another huge one. But I think overall, in terms of diet, was just eating a more, I don't know,
Eat the rainbow.
Eat the rainbow, balanced diet. So a lot more green veg, and trying to cut out like heavy carbs like chips and bread and stuff like that. And everything in moderation. I'll have the odd piece of bread and toast or whatever, but really just kind of an overhaul of everything that was going on in my life. But that was such a big change for me. And like, you can go on now on your side of things, but you were already in that lifestyle. Like you were going to the gym, you were eating well. Some foods you'd make, I wouldn't eat them, and obviously because I wasn't always eating with you, we were eating different foods. So yeah, that was kind of my experience and what I changed. But I'll let you go on to your side.
Well, I think mine was different in the sense that, I mean, as a woman, not saying all women are like this, I felt like I've been on a diet since I was like 13 and conscious about my weight. So I've always kind of, and I have to anyway, and now I know why, because I got diagnosed with PCOS only a few years ago. I put weight on really easily. So I've always had to watch what I eat anyway. So it wasn't, that side of things wasn't really the issue, but I think my change in diet really came when I did get my PCOS diagnosis. And I know there's grey areas to this, because some people say one thing and others say another. But I did for a while, I'm not at the moment, went gluten-free, which seemed to agree with me. But also a big one for me was getting rid of refined sugar. Just any like sweets and fizzy drinks. Diet Coke still is my thing that I like to have every now and again. But
you don't live off it though.
No.
You're not Trump.
No.
That's like McDonald's and Coke every day. Like you have a Diet Coke every now and again.
Yeah. But like refined sugar and just, drinking 2 litres of water every day and making sure I'm having the right veggies. It was actually when I went to Ian and I was doing my acupuncture and he was getting me ready for my first round of IVF. And it was really a low carb diet, more focused on higher fats and proteins. So I don't know, great example, like a nice piece of steak with some sweet potato and some kale, like just a good balance of things really. So I've kind of always, I've always eaten well. Like my mum used to be a chef and I was always brought up on homemade, home cooked whole foods. Unlike Jackie Moon, like when I met you.
I didn't even know how to do chip.
Beige.
Very beige.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a common thing. And, when we talk about Western diets, it's high in processed foods, high in ultra processed foods, low in fruits and vegetables, high in sugar, high in saturated fat, salt, these kind of things. And this is when the Western diet is spoken about. That is generally what it is. And, people are on a spectrum of this, and sometimes, not always, but it can sometimes be the male partner whose diet is a little bit more beige. It could be the female who's maybe like a little bit more like health conscious, but also it can be the other way as well. But really, in terms of kind of like where the best evidence is in terms of a pro-fertility diet lies within the Mediterranean style. And the good thing is, obviously, on a fertility journey, there's lots of things that you can't control, which sucks. But, in terms of diet and the other things that we're going to mention, these are some of the things that you can do. And it's important to, highlight that, okay, so if you swap this for that, that on its own, it can't cure infertility. It's not what it's about. It's about kind of like adjusting the risk of certain things and the probability of other things. So if, you know, people are on a fertility journey now and they're like, okay, what kind of changes can I make to my diet? So the shift over to, and it doesn't have to be overnight, just even making adjustments to help you to get there. So the basics that we're kind of looking for is whole grains, plenty of fruits and vegetables, as you guys said, and aiming for at least 5 portions of fruit and veg per day. But exactly as you said, tasting the rainbow, but not of the Skittles variety.
Yeah.
Looking for different coloured fruit and veg, because it means that we're going to get different nutrients and then also different antioxidants and polyphenols, and all of these play a really important role. Because one of the things, or two, I guess, are the main things that the Mediterranean diet does is antioxidant, and it's also anti-inflammatory. So with those, then there's other things as well, like oily fish, because it's basically like the highest natural source of omega-3 within the diet, the types of fat. So olive oil, legumes, nuts and seeds. And I mean, there's studies even on nuts alone. I mean, there's a particular one in like looking at male fertility, and like 60-gram portion of nuts per day just had, you know, a significantly
Wow.
significant improvement on sperm parameters just in like a 3-month period. And that's just one part of the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
So bringing it all together, and then it's thinking about the things that to cut down on, and their diet is generally low in like things like refined sugar, as you said, also red meat as well. So they don't have that high an intake of red meat. And it's absolutely fine to include that in a fertility promoting diet, but just not to be having too much of it, because one thing's in terms of red meat is it's also higher in saturated fat, and we kind of like want our unsaturated one. So a good place for people to start is just write down what you're having to eat. You know, have a little look. You can do this yourself. Yes, you can go and see a dietitian, but you can go and do it yourself. What swaps can you make out of that list that we just said? What are you hitting? What are you not? And the good thing is the Mediterranean diet is beneficial for both men and women. So it's not like, hey, you need to follow that and you need to follow that. No, it is like we can bring it together.
Perfect.
So it's just a nice kind of foundational approach. But yeah, so I'm interested in terms of, like what were your activity levels like kind of pre-fertility journey and then whilst you were on it?
As in physical activity. So
Do you want to go first?
yeah, I'll go first. No, ladies first. Okay. I just led the first, but you go.
My activity has changed quite a bit over the years, but I think at one point during our fertility journey, I was doing far too much, like really high intensity cardio, like spin. I was doing blaze. For me, I only felt like I was doing proper exercise if I was like on the floor and I can't breathe, basically, by the end of it. And I can't remember who said it to me. It was definitely a doctor. Maybe it was somebody at one of the IVF clinics we went to the first time around, maybe just cut back on that. So, yeah, I think now my activity level now, and it's changed since becoming pregnant actually, but before that, I was mainly just focusing on weight training and yoga.
And did you find that helped? Did you feel... Yeah.
Different.
And
stopped spin.
Yeah.
Actually stopped running. I know you don't need to, but I just felt like I wanted to stop any kind of really high intense cardio. I do a lot of walking with Luna, our dog. Yeah. So that's my only real sort of cardio.
Yeah. And interestingly, in women with PCOS, the typical exercise that people would do to say lose weight, for example, because it's a common goal of people with PCOS is, cardio. I'll go and run for however many miles that I can, or cycle for however many miles. It's not actually, as you found out in practice, it's not actually the best type of exercise for people with PCOS to do. So resistance training, exactly as you've said. Also, higher intensity, yes, but for shorter durations. So things like HIIT and things like that can be beneficial, but the longer cardio. So it's interesting that you found that, because it's exactly what the research says as well.
Yeah.
And I see people in terms of, so you've got lean PCOS as well, so being a healthy weight and then having PCOS. More typically, people are living with overweight and obesity.
Yeah.
So So yeah, I see, you know, a lot of people who may come into the clinic and they're thinking, I need to lose weight, and then I'm doing this, and then we change the activity to something that they think isn't going to do anything, and it has much greater effects.
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting.
And what about you, Jackie?
Well, before we started the fertility journey, I went through phases of going to the gym and then sacking it off, but I was relatively sedentary. Like the most I'd do the shop run at like 6 a.m. after party, or I'd like run to the gate at the airport. Like that was kind of it. Like that was as far as it went.
Bothered.
I wasn't bothered. I was very unhealthy, and I didn't realize that until lockdowns, and kind of looked in the mirror and kind of realized that, like, what am I doing? And at that point, there was a huge shift, especially after that meeting with Ian, when we went down the DNA fragmentation results on that conversation. Then I was like, right, switch this all up. So 15,000 steps a day. I've done all sorts of different things, challenges, but really got into my resistance training.
Yeah.
Try to put some weight on, so resistance training, but then also trying to cut. Now, I did this for like aesthetic reasons. I wanted to kind of prove to myself that I can go from being a dumpling basically to being in good shape, and, you know, doing it naturally, no steroids, no like any of this, no performance enhancing drugs. So I did that a couple of times, but now my life is revolved around movement. So still trying to get the 12 to 15,000 steps in a day. And until recently, I did this running challenge where I wanted to run 100 miles, didn't manage to get there, but I got long story, but I did a lot of running. But resistance training for me was a huge
It's what you love as well.
I love doing it. It's my favourite.
We do it together sometimes. Not so much these days.
Not now, because you're a little bit pregnant, darling.
Yeah.
Can't keep up.
No, I can't. And we used to do heavy. I used to sometimes squat heavier than you.
You were squatting heavier than me. I would come to the squat rack and I'd be like 70, 75 kg. I'm like, you only weigh 60 kg. Like, how are you squatting 75? I was like, no, I'll leave you to it.
Much.
Yeah, you did. You're well into it. So that's kind of it. But resistance and cardio, but trying to split it. But I did at one point overdo it, and Ian did tell me you shouldn't be doing 60, 90-minute sessions.
When you're like,
cut that down. Sweating. I'd go in like, I'd have a hoodie on.
Oh God, you would, wouldn't you?
Because when I was trying to cut weight, so I'd put a full hoodie on, t-shirt, hoodie, tracksuit, socks over, and just try to sweat as much as I can in 80 minutes, 90 minutes. And Ian was like, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. So. And I think, interestingly, because it actually works backwards in fertility. Normally there's like no research on women's health, and all like the studies are kind of like done on men. But interestingly, because obviously this burden has been put on women's shoulders for however long, there's more research into like female fertility and physical activity as opposed to men. But in terms of like what there is out there, there isn't necessarily like this big link or these big findings. So when it comes to male fertility, the advice is just public health guidelines in terms of activity. So, you know, trying to be active in some way and like an every day of the week. So I think really for men, it's just about like, it's listening to your body, and it's also listening to what's sensible. And if you are overdoing it, it can become a stressor for your body.
Completely.
So
I felt it. I felt it at points. I actually felt so tired that I was mentally and physically drained.
Yeah.
So then it was having like a negative impact.
Yeah.
So I was looking better, but I was feeling like shit.
Right. And it's so important to listen to these signs. But yeah, like a couple of interesting things from like the female fertility and like physical activity perspective. So there was a study, it was a systematic review that was done a couple of years ago. So it looks at like lots of different studies on the same topic. But some of the findings were that around about 58% of regular runners, so people who like ran a lot, had irregularities in their cycle compared to 9% of people who are sedentary.
No way.
So
wow.
Huge difference.
It is a huge difference. So people who are out there running all the time. So we know that like running is great, activity is great, but sometimes it can be overdone. But an interesting finding for this was that Where there were irregularities, and this is including where people didn't ovulate, is when people were at an energy deficit. So they weren't quite feeding themselves enough. They weren't giving themselves enough calories. So the conclusion from this paper was that actually if people fuel themselves efficiently and sufficiently, then they're likely to be fine. So it's like, for women, because one of the main ways in which activity can negatively influence fertility is influencing your cycle. So it's like, if your cycle is off, if it's irregular, if you're not ovulating, then activity is absolutely one of those things to look at. And a common question as well is, should I be exercising, before IVF as I'm going through? Obviously, do you have thoughts on that?
Oh, just my experience, really. I think the first time round, the first 2 times I was scared too.
Yeah.
And I was more sedentary.
Yeah.
Because I was so worried about affecting anything. This time round, I was still weight training. I wasn't doing my 80 kj squats, but I was still weight training, but just lighter.
Yeah.
Because the gym for me wasn't just a physical thing; it's a mental thing, and
both of us.
It's part of our lifestyle. Like, we love going, and I was like, I don't want to change too many things. I want to go on life as normal.
Exactly.
I don't want my body to be like, oh, we're doing something different.
No, and it was good. Again, you listen to your body. You were like, I'm not going to go for that 75 kg, whatever it was that you were doing. I'm not going to do that. That feels like a bit too much.
Yeah.
I'm still going to come, but I'm just going to be like gentler with it. That's you listening, and it sounds like a really, really sensible approach. We've had people come into the clinic who, run for miles and miles, like day upon day, and they're like, should I be like stopping this completely? Because it's a fear, because there's the other side that you mentioned, which is kind of like the mental health side. If I don't run and I'm sat at home, like, I'm going to feel terrible.
Yeah.
And this isn't actually going to be a positive thing. But this same paper basically gave the recommendations that you obviously need to like clear things with your team, but generally you can continue with kind of like with activity that you were doing before, whilst going through things as well, but obviously at the same time just like listening to your body, because they didn't see any actually negative effect as long as you're fueling yourself effectively. That was the main point, which I think is really, really interesting.
Yeah, huge. You can be training as hard as you want, but if you're not fueling yourself before and after,
or the correct way,
and hydration as well, like not drinking enough, and the salts, electrolytes, all that sort of stuff, like that is such a huge part to like recovery as well. If you're used to training, I mean, I've seen these videos of women who are like 8 months pregnant and they're going on huge runs, and I think this is really, really interesting topic for me, because I saw that and instantly I was like, oh well, it must be okay to do these 10, 15, 20k runs when you're 8 months pregnant, and this woman looked like she was breezing it, and I'm like, is that all right? Like, is it because she's used to it? Or, I'm assuming no one's going to take up marathon running 6 months pregnant.
You don't take it up.
No.
You don't start something new, not, when you become pregnant.
But there's the girl at our gym who you've now become friends with.
I don't know if she was doing CrossFit, but she was weight training and fairly heavy up until her due date.
Yeah. I know, and you know what? I gasp, not because it's necessary that she shouldn't be doing that. It's just I just don't lift weights, so it's like for me. But the thing is, there's also something in, if you're doing this for so long and then you take it away, not just kind of like mentally, but even physically, it could have like impacts on your metabolism and things like that. So if you are making, sometimes they can be a bigger risk of making big changes. Yeah. Than cutting things out. So I think with this, it is really individual, and it is safe for people to, exercise during pregnancy. Just make sure, as with all of these kind of things, just go and speak it through with either your, whether it's your fertility doctor, whether it's your GP. Just make sure these things are safe for you, and just curate a safe kind of plan. Listen to
your body.
Yeah.
Indeed. But if you're tired, like obviously I used to go to the gym 5-6 times a week. I don't do that anymore, which I'm fine with. Like, I've learned to be fine with it. If I want a rest day, I have a rest day, and I don't make myself feel guilty about it. I'm like, you know, I was in bed for a lot of yesterday because I was just tired. I was like, I need to rest.
But you are listening to your body more now, and it was difficult at the start because it was just so foreign.
I like to be
You're
busy.
active. Yeah, you like to be busy and active, very active
person.
And just to piggyback off what you were talking about before when you mentioned drinks, like there's two drinks that kind of like people generally tend to ask about, and these are caffeinated drinks.
Oh God,
and then alcohol. So tell me about like your experiences with those.
May I start?
Go for it.
So I used to drink so much caffeine.
Go on.
Like
quantify.
Oh, like 6 cups of coffee a day, Diet Coke
Absolutely
every
mental.
day. When I worked in sales.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and obviously that's like changed a lot over the years.
And did you get anxious with like that much caffeine, or you were just like?
Well, I think because of my job, like because I was in sales, I felt like that I needed that.
Yeah.
That was what I lived off: coffee, Diet Coke, and cigarettes. Like
you've come so far.
You have come so far down.
The picture of health. But I think especially when we started doing IVF, that was when I really focused on this is caffeine.
Yeah.
I've never been a big drinker. We'll go on to that. But like I think I reduced to begin with. No, I think at first I didn't drink any. I didn't have any. I was like, no, I can't have any caffeine. I would just have a decaf coffee. But now, so we've got an amazing coffee machine, and so we do it at home, and I have we call it a spicy coffee. So it's one which has the beans in the top, but I also have decaf, which is already ground.
Okay.
So Jackie will make it for me, and he'll do like 3 seconds of ground coffee, like caffeinated, and then the rest is decaf.
I love how meticulously planned.
It's actually 3.5 seconds. I'm not joking. 3.5.
You've got the sweet spot.
I've got it nailed. Yeah.
Because yesterday I had a really bad day yesterday.
Because you were tired and you didn't sleep.
I've had insomnia for a little bit, and I was up since 3 a.m. yesterday. Obviously, I've slept since, but I was really not in a good way yesterday. And I was like, I said, do me a stronger one. He went half and half. I was like, go on, half and half.
6 seconds.
Bearing
instead
in
of
mind,
3.
I'd already had a spicy coffee, and
Not
of
good.
course, it made me feel sick. If I have too much, it makes me feel sick.
It's been years since you've had 6 coffees a day, though. Like, tell Ro how many years it's been since that was part of your life.
I was in my early 20s.
Oh, okay.
Long time ago.
But even before I was pregnant, I couldn't have a full caffeinated coffee. It was I went out for lunch with my best friend. Not Christmas last, the Christmas before, and I ordered a decaf flat white. And it was in an Italian restaurant, so obviously it's going to be strong. It wasn't decaf, and it completely spoiled the rest of our afternoon. I honestly felt like I'd done a line of speed. I was shaking. I felt like I was going to be sick. Like we went for a drink. She was like, neck this glass of Prosecco, because I was like, I need to settle down.
Oh.
Like it honestly completely ruined.
Worst.
Like within about 20 minutes, I was like, oh my God, Holly, I feel really weird. Like my hands were shaking, and I was like, that wasn't a decaf. Like, I really hope this isn't going to spoil the rest of our day together. And it did. It like ruined it.
It's actually like the power of
So
caffeine is
powerful.
actually like mental.
I like Diet Coke every now and again as well, so I'm mindful about what time I have that.
Yeah.
Because even like really dark, 'cause I like really dark chocolate, like 90%. So I try not to have that too late either, because I feel I've got more sensitive to it. I wouldn't want to say like how much I feel is safe, like, because some people are like no coffee at all.
Yeah.
But having a really nice coffee is part of my morning routine, and I don't like to be without it. So
Yeah, understandable. And yeah, like from a kind of like a guideline perspective, so where caffeine becomes really important is mainly in terms of miscarriage risk. And actually the results in terms of male fertility and caffeine are actually like relatively inconclusive. There's
heard that.
There's a much stronger link when it comes to females.
Yeah.
But again, it's not necessarily it doesn't necessarily play that much of a role in people getting pregnant. It's more staying pregnant.
Okay.
So it's the miscarriage risk. So the guidelines in pregnancy are to not consume over like 200 milligrams of caffeine per day. So that's the equivalent of, say, 2 instant coffees.
Yeah.
But you correctly pointed out, you know, it could be in chocolate. You can have it in some like flu medication, cans of Coke, obviously energy drinks, things like that. So it is in other places, not just coffee as well. But this guidance, you know, it's not just for pregnancy, it's also for fertility as well, because, you know, you can be pregnant kind of like, you know, in a 2-week period, like every month kind of thing. So it's difficult to it's difficult to know sometimes. So actually, like, the guidance is follow the pregnancy guidelines, which is under 200 milligrams per day. But interestingly, there is some data to show that in some people, even lower levels of caffeine, so 100 milligrams per day, can potentially increase the risk of miscarriage as well. Wow. So if we have people who've had like recurrent miscarriage or even one, we tend to be that little bit stricter because it's like, why wouldn't we make this change and move?
It's a small change to make.
It is a small change, and it's a necessary one, and it can really help. So yeah, that's something for people to think about.
That's super
and then
interesting.
maybe on like the alcohol front, Jackie, what was kind of your experience with that?
Well, I mean, I don't even know what the intake would be, because prior, I mean,
Lots.
Yeah, just say loads. Like there was never. I mean, put it this way: I'd turn up to a gig and I'd have a bottle of Patron Silver, which is, no one knows, it's a big bottle of tequila, and then a bottle of Grey Goose, 6 Budweisers. I wouldn't drink it all myself, but I'd give it a good go with the people in the booth, and I'd take it home. So if I didn't drink the tequila, I'd take it home. So there was always, and obviously, drinks before the gig, drinks at the gig, drinks after the gig, and I was playing 2-3 times a week. So that was my life for 6 years, right?
I'd say longer than that.
Well, no, I was professional. I wasn't really professional, but I was doing it pro for 6 years. So that was
but
what it was like.
But your lifestyle in general,
oh yeah,
a lot longer.
Yeah, a lot longer than that. And then after starting this, I would say, I mean, I cut it out for a full year, 1 year. Sober completely. So I did a 6-month stint, and then I'd have like a couple of nights out, and then I did a year stint completely sober, then had a night out, and then it was kind of on and off. And now, like, I mean, we're pregnant now, but even now,
but we've never
not like I used to.
I know you would when you were up, but we've never been that couple to like have a bottle of wine at home on the odd occasion, but on the whole, we're not. Or I've never been a big drinker. But I'd be a binge drinker.
Well, you know what? I do think...
Is that worse?
It kind of seems to be a generational thing. And certainly like our generation, a lot of people that I speak to, they don't drink at home. They're not really fussed about doing that. It's the older generation that tend to do that. But yeah, certainly in like uni days, younger days.
Oh yeah.
Binge drinking was very much a part of the culture, shall we call it.
Yeah.
But really, you know, the guidance for women when trying to conceive is to abstain from alcohol.
Yeah, it is.
And basically, like, the more alcohol that is consumed, the longer it may take to get pregnant. But people can still, as we know, you know, so many people get pregnant without trying, really, and then people can have alcohol. So it's not to say that it prevents it, but sometimes it can increase the time to get there. But the main thing really in terms of alcohol is obviously the risk to the unborn baby. Of course. So that is more so the main thing. But I think that advice is, it's tricky because, you know, when trying to conceive, don't drink alcohol. But what about those people who've been trying to conceive for 6 years?
And does that
need a break? Yeah, does that mean that people can't consume alcohol in all of that time? So I think it's really important to like actually just individualize that advice to yourself and your own position. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, if you're wanting to have something, you know, obviously, be sensible with it, but
like also, we did on my birthday.
Go out and have a night out.
That was
one night out.
So before we did our 3rd round of IVF, and you know, it was Christmas. My birthday's in December. To be honest, you didn't drink at all over Christmas. I had like a couple of glasses, but I wanted to have a few drinks with friends on my birthday, and then after that, and I think my last alcoholic beverage was the 29th of December. And I honestly have the thought of, I have no interest whatsoever in having a drink. Because I know everyone's different, but some people are like, can't wait to have this baby so I can have a drink. I'm like, I'm really not asked.
Yeah.
I'm really, it's not the thing I'm going to be reaching for when I've given birth is a drink.
Yeah. And
an alcoholic drink. Anyway.
Exactly. And I hear more and more people say that now, as if they're like, well, so many more people are like sober now, or like drinking a lot
100%.
less. So it's just it's down the priority list for a lot of people. But in terms of men and alcohol, so the advice generally for men is, again, public health guidance. So public health guidance is to consume kind of like less than, or like 14 units or less in a week, and then above that is kind of heavy drinking. When there's heavy drinking, then there can be issues in terms of sperm quality and whatever. There was a study that concluded that men who had 9 units or more may potentially have issues with sperm concentration. So if we want to be kind of like a little bit more cautious in terms of the guidance for men, it could be, okay, maybe stick to like the eight units per week. So men get a little bit more leeway, but sometimes, I mean, it really, really depends on your couple, because sometimes doing something together can really help. If
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it can really help. But for some people, they're like, no, okay, you do that and then stick. It's really, again, like each couple to themselves kind of thing. So we've covered a few there. So what about sleep?
I've always had really, I wouldn't say amazing sleep, but pretty good sleep. Like I've always kind of got 8-9 hours.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Not right now,
No, you're struggling.
Struggling at the moment, but sleep's always been really, important to me.
And before, again, prior to this, sleep was all over the place. But now, me and Eleanor like to be in bed
at 8:30.
For 9. What?
Upstairs at 8:30.
We'll sit up at 8:30. We've been to the gym, come back, had breakfast, took Luna out for a walk by 8:30.
Upstairs at 8:30.
Upstairs by 8:30, showered, in bed by 9. If we read till 9:30, but up at 5 every day. 10 to 5 we're up. We're at the gym for 6. That's been our routine.
That's you, not me so much every day.
No, but until you've been pregnant.
Oh, right, yeah.
For
no,
sure.
yeah.
Like even until a few months ago you were doing that.
Yeah.
But so I would say 7 to 8 hours for me.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's really good. And it's, as you would expect, there is an association between sleep and fertility, both for men and women. So there was a paper, again, another systematic review, so kind of like bringing in different studies together, looking at sleep and female infertility. And this was looking at people who had like more severe sleep issues, but still there were associations between poorer sleep and less eggs retrieved at IVF. Also the capacity of fertilization and embryo quality. So basically, like, the worse the sleep was, the worse these outcomes were. And then there was an interesting paper that looked at the sperm quality of sperm donors. And then they were asked about their duration of sleep and also the quality of the sleep. And then so if people were having less than 6 hours sleep, they had lower motility, interestingly.
Really interesting.
And then those who had a lower sleep quality had a poorer motility and concentration. So it just goes to show, all these things that we're saying, they're just little. And again, this isn't going to be the one thing on its own. Oh, if I sleep 1 hour more per night, that's not going to solve the problem. It's putting everything together, because all of these things, they increase probability of things going in the right way.
Yeah.
And another association with infertility is stress. And this is a really difficult one, because it's like, is it the chicken or the egg? Like what came first? Does stress cause infertility, or does infertility cause stress? And we certainly know the latter is true.
Yeah.
There are some studies that show that acupuncture, you mentioned. So acupuncture and also, therapies such as CBT can improve fertility rates. So then there is a thought around, could stress then influence fertility? So, all we can take from that is stress management should be another thing that we put into our kind of like fertility lifestyle package in a way. And I know it's much easier said than done.
Yeah,
relax.
Oh,
isn't that the
word.
best one? Isn't that the best one?
Guys, you just need to relax.
Just chill
more.
out.
Just relax and it'll happen.
Yeah, which is the most infuriating thing. But really, people need to take that much more practically. Think about their own life. What would give you a little bit of peace? What would calm your mind? What would make you feel good? And just integrate a few little things in there. If your stress levels are still a little bit high, like it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, don't stress about the stress levels being high. Just take things
away.
Yeah, and just kind of like just try to be like as rational with this part of things as you can. So, what was your experience?
I think, and I've been thinking about this. Sorry, I feel like I've got something in my eye. Have I got fluff in my eye?
Have you?
I think I have.
I'm not going to put my finger in because my fingers are bigger than your eyes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. I think you're all right.
Okay. One major thing that definitely stands out for me was my job. You know, I started the job I have now just after our second round of IVF, and this job that I'm doing now, so I work in a care home doing the activities. So I hang out with old people all day. It's great. And we do fun things. And that job healed my heart in more ways than I can imagine after our miscarriages and just our journey in general.
Yeah.
But like just... I've worked in sales for years and it's stressful, like targets and...
Goes with the territory, doesn't
you
it?
know,
Sales.
meetings and living in London and just like all of it was just so much. And that's a huge difference. But also, I really like when we had a break before our third round, and we went and did more travelling and lived our life a bit more. And we did go out and have a few drinks and stuff on my birthday, which was a month and a bit before we started. And
it wasn't crazy. It wasn't like the old days.
No,
but we went out and let our hair down for a night.
We had a lovely time with our friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, also just, I think my life in general is just slower. And I've sort of not really been doing it since I became pregnant, which is weird. I need to get back into it. I've meditated every day for a long time, and just, I don't know. I feel like I was just more at peace with things.
Yeah, that's great.
And I don't know quite how I got there, but I did.
You did.
That's what matters.
I did. And like just everything that we've spoken about today, and there's other things that are off the list that I've added in that I think have helped, all like natural sort of stuff. But I do think that just stress has a big part to play in it. But the infertility side of things is stressful because it's always on your mind.
Can't not be.
And the constant disappointment and also fertility treatment is stressful.
It's stressful.
It's, you know, I spoke about it earlier this morning. When I did 4 rounds of letrozole, I had such a bad reaction because they put me on such a high dose. I ended up in hospital for 2 days with oral thrush, and I've never been so ill. It was horrendous. Awful. And I was like, oh my God, is this really where we are? Yeah. That was stressful.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So, yeah, I think being kind to yourself and, just doing little things for you to slow down definitely helps.
And one interesting question that I want to ask you both about is on the topic of what are known as endocrine disrupting chemicals. So these are things like plastics or things that like phthalates or parabens you may find in personal care products, even like pesticides, you know, in which like fruits and vegetables will have contact with, those kind of things. Because I would say like this isn't necessarily like a part of general health management when people are just managing their health, but in the fertility space, it is a part of a fertility lifestyle. Some people look into it, other people don't. And I think sometimes it can depend where kind of like on a fertility journey you are.
Definitely.
But I'd be really interested to hear whether that was a part of your fertility plan.
It was.
It was.
But it only sorry, go on.
No. I'm saying I was looking at you to just agree with you.
Oh yeah, you agree with me. Nice when you agree with me. I like that. It's my favourite. It became more apparent that we needed to look at those things as we got further into the journey. So when we had our first and second miscarriage, and it was like, right, what else? You know, like looking at the diet, right, what else?
Yeah.
The PCOS, right, no, cut out gluten, what else? So perfumes, putting perfumes directly on the skin. Haven't done that for
stopped
ages.
using perfumes.
I'll spray a spray on my t-shirt before I put it on my body if I'm going out or somewhere. So I'm going to meet people like today and stuff, but I'll not wear it in normal daily life.
When we started treatment for our third round, I said neither of us are wearing perfume.
No, zero.
We didn't wear anything sort of scented.
Yeah. And you know what, on that, because I didn't actually realise how potent or how big a risk that was, because you guys know that I like froze my eggs.
Yeah.
And when going in for the egg collection, they were like,
They tell you.
Don't wear perfume because it will affect the quality of the eggs.
That's
and I was
crazy.
like, whoa. And this is, to be honest, because, you know, I'm not trying to conceive, but I like perfume. And I even have these thoughts. I was like, but I love this perfume, but should I be wearing it as much? And even when I go to the gym, like sometimes like out of a plastic water bottle, and I'm just like, oh. So I'm even aware of these things, because it's like, if it can influence a fertility journey, then, you know,
What else is it doing?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
So
going back to you guys.
Deodorant, perfume.
No more aerosols.
No more aerosols, yucca, everything. So get yucca on every
Yeah.
single thing. So like, I mean, when it comes to like healthcare products or like anything like moisturizers, anything,
Body
with yucca,
cream.
and it's got to be a good score. Yeah, we got new pans. We got rid of all the crap pans because we were like
Saucepans.
Saucepans, like proper pans that aren't going to like let off like any. Was it the plastic Tupperware went to plastic to glass, like everything. So like everything we buy now, we're very conscious.
Yeah.
So it's a gradual process. It's not like when in the house.
Our water bottles are stainless
Yeah,
steel.
my protein shaker's metal. I've got a Yeti. Like I don't use really anything that's got plastic in it unless like I remember I used to fucking microwave food. Like microwave food and plastic. We haven't got a microwave.
No, we haven't had a microwave for years.
But like heating like ready meals and like you put in the oven, like all that stuff is just completely gone.
And do you think that this will be a thing for life for you two now?
Oh, 100%. I don't see any reason why we go back.
Exactly. I think once you've got there, then it's kind of like easier to stay there.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's important because some people can be, you know, like worried after hearing a conversation like this. And the goal isn't to, you know, get rid of these things completely, because it's impossible.
You can't do everything.
No. You know, we are exposed to these chemicals in so many aspects of our lives, but there are things that people can do. And I think, you know, your approach was, I think, the right one, and one that I tend to advise as well. Don't, you know, we've spoken about like 6 different things here.
Yeah.
Don't try and do everything at once.
It's so stressful.
Take it one step at a time. You know, even when I was saying about diet, even take that one step at a time, and then bring things in. And with the endocrine disrupting chemicals thing, that tends to be something that people will bring in a little bit later.
Yeah. As it was for us as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is like, you know, what else can we do?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just even in terms of general health, I think it's important that these conversations are had. And I think that we will start to see a shift, I think, in society a little bit, just in terms of, say, like even like plastic usage and other things like that. So I guess like watch this space. But yeah, it's great. You know, it's great what you guys are doing. But I think you know, I think we could probably talk about these things for, you know, hours to come. But in terms of, you know, those things that we said, hopefully for people who are listening, who are on a fertility journey, it might have given them a little bit of inspiration in terms of changes that they can make to optimize their chances.
Absolutely.
When it comes to fertility, and whether that's natural pregnancy or whether going through fertility treatment.
Very helpful for wherever you are on your journey.
Yeah.
It's things you need to think about prior, isn't it?
Absolute gold there. Great. Anything else on that topic?
Why do you want to go home, Jackie?
I could do, honestly, every time you've asked a question there, I was like, I could answer this question for half an hour. Every single section. We could be here for hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is so valuable for people. And like, I think you just mentioned it. I don't know whether you did, but forget about infertility or trying to conceive. Like all these things we've talked about are just really good for health.
Yeah.
General health, especially like, you know, the endocrine disruptors. Like talking about all the food, organic food, like all these things we've talked about it'll help you in life.
That is something we do.
What?
Before we wrap up.
Go on.
And it's a tip I got off Instagram. Like all of my fruit now, I clean it, I wash it in water with bicarbonate of soda in it pop it in for like 15 minutes, especially strawberries.
Strawberries are the worst
Strawberries
ones.
are the worst. And I mean, we do try and buy organic where we can, but
I have to remortgage my house to buy organic strawberries.
yeah, and you get like 5 in a punnet, so that is the next best thing you can do. But obviously, yeah, we buy organic where we can as well.
Amazing, right? Thanks, Ro.
No.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Much.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.